I would join a program. I would go through some kind of marketing program or business program. And at the end of it, it was like, I didn't get anything out of this. It doesn't matter how good or bad it is. I'm going to create an ROI out of it. Don't blame other people for your lack of growth. You get to make choices as a human being.
Hey, it's Daniel, and you are about to watch a clip from our free Facebook group, an amazing community where coaches connect, collaborate, and get real-time answers to their big questions. We go live every week to share insights, strategies, and support to build your coaching business.
Hello, amazing coaches. Excited to be here and talk to you about something that's really important. And actually, I'll start with myself. It took me a while to figure this one out. And again, I'm talking from a coach's point of view and an entrepreneur. A lot of times I used to have this blind spot or this assumption that I might be immune to some of the things that other people are dealing with. Well, because I've gone through this whole amazing journey, gone through a lot of adversity, and then became a coach. So it shouldn't affect me the way it affects other people. And of course, it wasn't a conscious thought process. It was all kinds of stuff in the background, and it would show up in my behavior. And here's what I mean. I would join a program. I would go through some kind of marketing program or business program. And at the end of it, it was like, I didn't get anything out of this. And I spent thousands of dollars in it. And mind you, there are a lot of really bad programs. But here's one of the most powerful things that I've learned in the process is that I actually don't hold other people responsible for my growth. Because it was my decision to join this program. Did I do the due diligence necessary for me to join? That was my choice. I didn't have to join. Nobody put a gun to my head. Did I think about it enough? Was I looking at the effect of it, the consequences? Did I have enough commitment in the process? There were a lot of things that I was responsible for. Now, of course, the program could be not the best program, but I'm going to take as much as I can get out of it and actually use it. And my commitment became over the years that whenever I join a program, it doesn't matter how good or bad it is, I'm going to create an ROI out of it. One ROI, return on investment, is my own growth as a leader, my own emotional growth, my own growth in my clarity and my leadership, those kind of things. So things that are really powerful internally. And then I also looked at it from a business point of view. If I'm going to join the program, for example, I got a certification a few years ago, 3 years ago, and I decided, you know what, if I do join this program, let's say I paid close to, I think it was with everything about $7,000-8,000, I want to get at least 10x return on that over the next year or 2 years, something like that. And I actually tracked that, and actually I did. I was able to make over $100,000 with that program in offers. The program was not the best, to be honest. It was okay. It gave me some key insights, and it gave me an opening to go towards a different market. But that was my responsibility to use that in that way. And same thing even in our programs. Our programs are not perfect. In Coaching Mastery Community, we have a program. I think it's better than most programs out there for coaches, because most programs for coaches are created by marketers and business coaches who don't actually understand the coaching world very well. They've never built a coaching business, and I actually have built a coaching business for the past 10 years. And even to this day, my main thing is I'm a high performance coach, and I work with investors and entrepreneurs, and that's how where most of my revenue comes from. The coaching part, the business coaching part, is actually a very small part of it. The main reason I did it because this industry gave me everything: my lifestyle, my sense of purpose, my leadership that I get to do, that I get to enjoy what I do on a day-to-day basis, not work for me. So I'm like, and there are a lot of coaches struggling, and a lot of coaches who have reached out to me, how can I build a business? So we created this community, and in fact, it came as a volunteer effort initially for the first 4 years. Then we changed it into a business model. I think it's one of the best programs, but it's not perfect. It has challenges in it. We're working through a lot of those challenges. But I know that if a coach comes in, we can help him get results. How do I know that? Well, we have a track record, and there are coaches who have come who haven't been able to move forward for years. I spoke to one of the coaches in our community this morning, where he had been thinking about and actually trying to be a coach for the past 10 years. Nothing happened. He joined our community. Within the first year, he has 3 clients. Another coach, Eric, you might see him in the community. He did, I think, close to 20,000 in the first couple of years of his coaching, something like that. In the past 3 months, 3 to 6 months, he's done well over $30,000 in the community, based on what I'm estimating, based on what he has shared. But so it works, our program works, but by no means is it perfect. So what I hope is when coaches come in, they actually take responsibility for their growth. Yes, call us out for things that we're not doing right, because we're growing and improving ourselves. We want to make the program better, but take responsibility for your growth. This also applies to your personal life. Don't blame other people for your lack of growth. You get to make choices as a human being. The stuff shows up subconsciously. A lot of times it's not conscious. And by the way, as coaches, just that's the point I want to hit home. We're not immune to it. Sometimes your old patterns will show up and you will feel like a victim. Somebody did something to you. The economy did something to you, or the political climate, or some other business, or somebody took advantage of you. Well, in almost all of those cases, you had to make a choice to do something. And I'll even push it. You might be thinking, well, what about real victims? And yes, there are real victims, but we're talking about the mindset behind it. Even if you are a real victim, it's not useful to think of yourself as a real victim. And that might sound counterintuitive, but because what happens is whenever you go into that victim state, that, oh, this person did this to me, the economy did this to me, that person, and a lot of business owners are doing this, or I can't move forward because of this and that and the other. You're giving your power away to somebody else. You're making yourself helpless. And while I think there are real victims, I don't think it's useful to have that mindset. And really, the reason why I do this, doing this training, is to help you understand that this might be a blind spot. This might be a thing you might have gone through multiple programs and studied all kinds of things. But no matter how bad the program is, you have not taken responsibility for your own growth. And if you can just become aware of that and make a commitment that no matter what I join, I'm going to find out what I can use and move it forward, no matter how bad the whole program might be, or no matter how bad the situation might be, I'll make the best out of it. There's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of disconnection, there are a lot of people blaming the economy, the political climate, lots of things. But the main problem is not any of that stuff. The main problem is, where do you have power and where do you have control? You don't have control over the political climate. You don't have control over what's going on out in the world. Yeah, you can speak your mind and share your perspective, great. But at the end of the day, what you have control over is how you pivot, how you deal with what's happening, not to react to what's going on, but intentionally think about what you're going to leverage. And I'll tell you, in the past 3 years, it's not just current, and now people are reacting to it now. Well, I just by the fact that I have been around other powerful investors, entrepreneurs, I've known that the economy is going to go there. And for example, 5 years ago, I think I talked to somebody who was in the foreclosure business, who has a 8-figure business, and he was literally waiting for this economy to come around so you can go get great properties at completely discounted rates. And there are a lot of foreclosures that have happened, and they will come in US especially in the future, and his business is going to thrive. But he knew that because it was a cycle in the economy. And I've talked to a lot of business owners who have been doing this longer than 15 years. They know that this was coming. It's just that it has gotten accelerated by things like COVID and all kinds of other situations with inflation and everything that has come around. And now there's a big new political climate in the US. But the point is that most people are reacting to it. How are you taking advantage of it? Well, here's what I did. I doubled down because I've had a business only for the past 10 years. The only challenging situation I've gone through is COVID. In fact, my business doubled in COVID. So it was challenging, but I got a lot of opportunity at that time with my network. But this is different. And I didn't know how to run a business at this time. And so 3 years ago, I started doubling down on my knowledge and expertise. I needed to hire coaches who have done this for well over 20 years. So I hired some of the best 7-8-figure coaches in the past 3 years, and I worked with them, and I got them to analyze my stuff. I got them to see my blind spots. And I've joined communities. There were other coaches who were doing similar things. In fact, I just finished an intensive with Rich Litvin. He's been doing this for a while, and I met coaches there who've been doing this a lot longer. I'm going to an in-person event in Santa Fe in the next month. Again, I'm proactive. I need to learn how to operate my business in this economy, and I did something very similar during COVID as well. I invest in myself and my business, and I take responsibility for where to go. Now, I didn't always have that thought process. There was a time where I would go through a program and like, that wasn't useful. What should I do now? But there were actually a lot of things that were useful. If I didn't become a victim to the program, I could have used it. But as the more I've been an entrepreneur, the more I've been a coach, the more I've realized to take full responsibility for what I can control. Once you become clear about your purpose, your vision, what matters to you deep down, your why, and what you want to focus on in the short term and long term, that's when change comes. You can start saying no to the things that don't matter. You can start saying yes to the things that will propel you forward, because those businesses and those people who stay for the next 5 or 6 years, they'll be able to exponentially grow. Those who don't survive, of course, they will be not remembered. They will be irrelevant in the economy. I hope this was helpful. Please share your insights and thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm open to the disagreement part as well. I'd love to learn from you. Hope you have an incredible day.